Okay.
All right, this is Tim Charron with Rockstarter.com, and we're getting more invaluable advice for musicians. And we have with us Mr. Cris Cohen from Bands to Fans. He is the master of social media and works with some very dear friends of mine. And so, how's it going, Chris?
It's going well. It's going well.
Excellent. So basically, we just want to find out something about yourself, about your company, what you guys do, who you work with.
All right. Well, in a nutshell, what I do is social media marketing for musicians. And it's a matter of helping bands, helping individual musicians as well, find untapped opportunities, find those new fans, while also keeping their current fans engaged. And what I tell people is anyone can put up a post, but I can help you tell your story. Because it really is just about storytelling in the long run. I've been doing it for about 4.5 years now, and there's a lot that's changed, and yet it's still very, very new. It's still very much in its infancy, but it's quite fascinating as far as that goes. And right now, the musicians I work with, it really runs the gamut to what they call legacy acts to, up and coming musicians and a mixture of rock, classical, country, etc. Um, I work with Huey Lewis and the News. I've been working with them since the beginning, 4.5 years.
Which is amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. Also, the band Cowboy Mouth out of New Orleans.
They are amazing.
Yeah.
if whoever's watching, if you don't know Cowboy Mouth, do yourself a favor, go to their website, find out when they're coming to your town. You have to see them live. I saw them live on accident, when I was I told you this long story, but when I was living in Denver, and I was in a band, and Cowboy Mouth was playing at the venue that we were going to play at. A few days later, and we were there to promote our show. And like I tell people, it was like going to rock and roll university. I mean, they put on the greatest show ever.
Yeah, they so much fun, and very different from bands like Huey Lewis and the News, but humongous entertainment factor.
Amazing. I still use things in my shows to this day that I stole from Fred.
Well, what's that saying? To take from one source is stealing, to take from many sources is inspiration.
Yes,
so,
exactly. Exactly.
That worked. So yeah, I've been working with those bands. I also work with singer Taylor Dane. I work with a classical trio, Time for Three, amazingly talented musicians. And then, some individual musicians in addition to bands. Our friend Rich Redmond, drummer for Jason Aldean, and many other acts. You turn on country radio, you will hear his drumming at least once an hour.
Yep, he's on my record too.
Yeah,
Yep.
Louis Prima Jr. and the Witnesses, and there's a few other people that have come and gone, and that's a large part of my stable right now. Fabulous Thunderbirds as well.
Oh, wow.
And I'm lucky. It's a really interesting group of musicians who and diverse but all amazingly talented.
Wow, that's incredible. So you basically run their accounts or help them run their accounts on social media?
Yeah,
Okay.
primarily the big ones: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and it's and it varies from person to person, from client to client, how much they want to be involved. Some people, really don't have the time for it, and they don't want to be involved. Other people really want to be more hands-on, and which is totally fine. But as you know, when you're on the road, getting a strong signal is difficult, and so sometimes, what I do is I'm just kind of mission control. The musicians are out there touring, exploring, and then they're sending me content, which I then help edit, refine, and upload and tag and all that kind of stuff. So they're all very much involved with their own social media, and I don't put words in their mouth by any means, but it varies how much help they need.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. So this being for musicians, are there any tips or advice or anything that you could give to to people that are aspiring musicians just working their way up in their career?
Um, you know, I don't think musicians give themselves enough credit about these topics that they're passionate about their thoughts, about their opinions. They, when you delve into people's lyrics and their songs, you get that coming through. But then for some reason, a lot of musicians, they'll get on social media and then they'll just post pictures of their sandwich and and here's a tree outside our hotel and that kind of stuff. And it's like I really think musicians sell themselves short in this kind of thing. And it doesn't have to be these long esoteric essays on life and whatnot, but just I think musicians have some fantastic insights, and just from their artistic point of view and from the point of view of thinking about how to write metaphorically and how to put their ideas into songs, they've thought a lot about, maybe it's societal issues, maybe it's just matters of the heart, but
Hmm.
they have some, fantastic insights. And I don't think musicians get enough into that. And that's probably what I try and do with part of it, is draw that out of the people I work with.
And that's all part of their story, which is what you're trying to get across is their story and their ongoing story, really, of where they are in their career, whether it's Cowboy Mouth or Huey Lewis or Rich,
Yeah.
what they're doing and where they're coming from at that point, which leads me to a question I just thought of. What's your take on really relatively personal things like political views and things like that? Do you think that musicians should kind of hold back, or and not try to alienate anyone, or just be who they are and speak their minds and put their opinions out there and their beliefs, and then if you align with that, then great. If you don't, that's okay too.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of, I don't recommend that they get involved in politics and that kind of thing, because it is hugely divisive.
Yeah.
And I don't know that it really helps them personally. Um, I have artists that talk about matters of faith and that kind of thing, and
Yep.
can be very spiritual in the way they talk about their beliefs. But that's kind of and I don't know, that can be divisive, but it can also, really be inspiring, especially if they're not trying to push one particular religion or sect over another, but just talking about, their own beliefs, their own faith, their own inspiration and
Yep.
overcoming obstacles, and I think if they speak to it in that way,
Hmm.
then I think it can really, hit home. But I don't know, when you get into politics, I tend to advise staying away from that kind of thing.
Yeah. Personally, I don't go there.
Yeah.
I like to. I try to be, myself on social media, and I try to be as much as I can a very positive thinking. Try to be as motivated as possible. Try to help other people to be motivated as well. So those are kind of the things other than music things that I believe in. So that's things that I post other than my music and what I'm doing with my career and stuff. So those are the
Right.
kind of
Now, if it's
lifestyle things.
something in the news that affects you and your career, obviously a lot of discussion happening right now about the state of the music industry and where things are going, and piracy, and
Spotify,
yeah, and
which is
streaming
the
and all
same
that,
thing.
and then I'm totally fine with people weighing in on that
Yeah.
if they so choose, because you're really coming at it from, I'm in the midst of this, and it's an expert opinion, and I'm living with this on a regular basis. And I think that can offer some tremendous insight. People might disagree, but I think they would at least be saying, well, okay, this person has, he's dealing with this, as an insider.
Yep. One more question. Do you, with the nuts and bolts of, say, Facebook and Twitter, do you basically photograph posts or video posts? What do you think are more powerful, or just a combination?
I think it's good to mix it up, and the key is you have to be honest with yourself about the statistics. Facebook, for instance, is really good about giving stats about how many people see it and how many people it's reached. But you have to be realistic about that. For instance, if you upload a video directly to Facebook, it's going to get more attention than if you share the YouTube video.
Yeah.
But you have to keep in mind, it'll show you total number of views on a video. Now, most people's mobile devices, their phones, their iPads, are set to the default so that when they're scrolling through their newsfeed and they come upon a video, it's going to automatically start playing, although without sound. If it plays for like at least 3 seconds, even though it's without sound, Facebook counts that as a view. So, if you've got tons of views, then obviously people are actually watching it. Then you can see, people are sharing it. People are genuinely watching it. But just know that some of the stats can be, a little deceiving.
Yep.
3 seconds with the sound off is not something you should count as a view, but
Yeah.
Facebook does.
Yeah.
So, and I like to mix it up, though, photos and videos. And with things like Facebook, you have to. I mean, they've said, if you have a public page and you put out a post that's just text, no photo, no video, their algorithm will squash it so it gets seen by even fewer people than normal. So it always
that's really good to know. Really good for people to know.
Yeah.
So you're saying it's more powerful, whether it's video or photo, to use one of the two rather than just a text post.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's got to have video, photo, or a link to a news story.
Okay.
Otherwise, the algorithm is going to hammer it.
Awesome. Excellent advice. And what I'd like to do, Cris, is anybody watching this, if you have a question for Cris about social media, either post it on the blog itself or on Facebook. I'm sure I'll be putting this out on Facebook, and I will bug Cris again and get him back on Skype, and I'll ask him to answer your question. Is that cool?
Yeah, be happy to do that.
Awesome. Excellent. So thank you so much, Cris. You are the best. We really appreciate you being on Rockstarter.com, and want to let everybody know that we are also now offering coaching and consulting to up-and-coming musicians. So send me a message if you're interested in that. And I'm sure we'll have you back on, Cris. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.